The Road to Serfdom, the book that most of us know you for, I think, was particularly eloquent about the dangers or the folly of massive and particular intervention in an administrative sense. At least that's what I recall. Would a simple redistributive policy on the part of government offend you or make you as concerned as the warnings you raised about a state that was intervening specifically all throughout our lives? In other words, a simple statement, make your money how you see fit, we will take X% of it to heal the wounds of the poor. Is this as dangerous a policy?
The answer is very definitely yes, because any redistributive policy requires a discriminating treatment of different people. You cannot, so long as you treat all the people according to the same formal rules, forcing them to act only to observe the same rule, bring about any distribution of incomes. Once you decide that government is entitled to take from some people in order to give it to others, this is automatically discrimination of a kind for which there can be no general rule. They are purely arbitrary.
Why isn't the general rule all those in Class A, $20,000 to $30,000 a year, pay X, all those in Class B pay Y, all those in Class C receive X? Why is it not a general rule as opposed to the
Well, it
road to
depends
serfdom?
on
Because X doesn't equal Y.
the very difficult question how to define a general rule. I mean, after long discussion in jurisprudence, it has come out that the essential point about a general rule is that you cannot predict who will profit from it and who will suffer from it. Any rule where you know beforehand who will be the gainers and who will be the sufferers is in that sense not a general rule.
But now, does this fact that it is not a general rule make it nonetheless inadvisable?
Inadvisable because once you authorize government to act arbitrarily, there's no limit to it.
Now, I think I want to make sure I understand this. The word arbitrary all of a sudden came in there. Why is it arbitrary if one understands
Not acting according to a rule is arbitrary.
I'm sorry?
Not acting according to a general rule is arbitrary. That's the only way in which you can define arbitrary.
I don't see why, if one understands exactly the premises on which one is making distinctions. Why is it arbitrary? I distinguish between rich and poor when I tax them because rich people have more discretionary income.
Well, you distinguish between the people whom you want to have more and the people whom you want to have less.
But why is it arbitrary? I've given you what I think at least is a plausible and defensible reason for distinguishing
Well,
among
the
them.
distinction is between, I can only say, a general rule which applies equally to all and a rule which distinguishes between different groups.
Arbitrary does not necessarily mean thoughtless.
Yes, I understand.
That's correct.
I understand that part, but it seems to me that one is moving from a descriptive to a normative judgment in an effort to set forth a rule which will make it impossible for government to treat different people differently. Yeah.
Let me come up with perhaps a suitable example. If you went back to an earlier time in American history, the goal, always imperfectly realized, was that the blindfolded goddess of justice stood before us all, dispensing her favors equally and to all who came before her. If you take various governmental programs arbitrarily conceived, as Professor Hayek is using the word, take affirmative action in our time. Now we have a law which says, come before the blindfolded goddess of justice, but now she's encouraged to peek, and she says, first tell me your color, tell me your sex, and then I will tell you how we are going to treat you. Well, now, you know, there are Lithuanian minorities as well as black or whatever. The only majority in this country that I know of course, are women. There are more women than men. But every other grouping, ethnic or otherwise, into which we can break ourselves turns out to be a series of minority relationships.
But
and it is highly arbitrary to select some of those to say, these are the people whom we single out for special
Just very
treatment,
quickly,
and these are the people whom we penalize.
There's only been one minority in American history that I know of that was legally enslaved.
Yes, and it was a legal process which made that possible.
Yeah.
The enslavement came as the direct result of the state determining the affairs of men.
It was arbitrary.
Yes.